Shares of Rosetta Stone hit a one-year high this week. They're up about 50% so far this year. But with the emergence of language apps like Babbel and Duolingo, how has the company managed to adjust to the industry over the last 26 years? Joining us now to discuss the CEO, John Haas. John, thanks for joining us. So let's just talk a little bit about your most recent quarter, where the business has gone over the last year, and kind of where you see Rosetta Stone over the next few, because I remember going into malls and seeing the Rosetta Stone kits sitting there. Certainly a different business for you guys now.
Yeah, it sure is. In fact, if you went back to a mall today, you wouldn't find us. We stopped selling CDs a little over a year ago. We're entirely mobile and online today. That's where the industry is taking us. That's where our learners want to be. That's where we are. So we're in the market with a 5-star rated app now, and that's where we need to be. But the focus for us going forward is really on communication broadly, whether that's teaching kids to read in a school, which is a very fast-growing business for us, or teaching all of us to speak a second language.
So tech seems to be a big part of what you're doing now. Obviously, the push to mobile, using technology to make this easier for people. It's on their phones, it's on their iPads. Yep. But is tech also a long-term headwind, do you think, for Rosetta Stone, just in terms of all the instant translation products that we probably have coming? We've talked to a lot of future thinkers about what's happening with language, and are we really going to need to learn another language?
Yeah, we certainly believe so. I think, if you look back through history, there's always been a translation business, which has been very different from learning a second language. We're not in the translation business. We're in the business of teaching you to speak a second language and giving you the benefits that provides, whether it's allowing yourself to immerse yourself in a culture, understand how other people think, allow yourself to truly work in a business setting by knowing a second language. All of the benefits that you derive from that, you just aren't going to get from handing someone back and forth an earpiece that allows you to speak to somebody, which might work for an instant conversation, but it's not a life-changing skill.
John, what bigger picture here? What more should the Trump administration be doing to support education right now?
Yeah, our real focus is on teaching kids to read in schools. When there are two big trends in U.S. schools that we're very interested in and are very important to us. One, if you look nationally, and you can look over decades, 2/3 of kids are reading below grade level. We have a business called Lexia Learning, which is the best in the market at teaching kids to read. If we can do that, we're going to improve their chances of graduating. We're going to improve their lifelong earnings. We're going to decrease incarceration rates as well. So it's critically important. It's one of the most fundamental things you can do. The other thing I think it's really important is teaching non-native English speakers to speak English in our schools. So if you were to go around and you were to ask teachers and administrators around the country, maybe the biggest single problem they have are helping those kids be successful. So we're really focused on that. We're going to introduce a new product next year that we think will be a game changer in that area.
John, I just want to ask a little bit about your segment business. Education is the only one of your three areas where you guys saw a decrease in year-over-year revenues. When you look at where you want the business to be over the next couple of years, how much are you trying to drive more growth in the education segment? But it certainly sounds like what you're doing on the consumer side, and then also kind of in the general literacy category, away from just inside of schools or areas you're trying to emphasize right now.
Yeah, people would possibly be surprised by this. The largest single customer base for us right now is K-12 schools. Now, that's if you combine our reading segment, which actually grew about 20% in the first quarter, and our K-12 language segment, which actually did shrink a bit in the first quarter, primarily because we're investing in a new product, which won't come out until next year, to serve those K-6, kindergarten through 6th grade, English language learners. We think it is the single biggest part of our company now. We don't expect that to change. That's when kids are learning. And we're really excited to be right in the middle of that and some really important trends in the country.
Are you worried at all about parents and wanting to limit the amount of screen time that their kids have in sort of terms of learning at all?
I have a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old. I worry about that myself. Our real focus isn't on technology per se. It's on producing outcomes. And so actually, if you were to look at our reading business, we actually prescribe the amount of time that's needed on the software and we differentiate that for every child. We don't want to overemphasize that software. What we're trying to do is give the kid what he needs and then really empower the teacher to intervene with the data and the information that she or he needs to really help that student. I mean, we celebrate teachers. They're critically important. They'll always be the primary part of the classroom. This is National Teacher Appreciation Week, really important week for us. And so the focus for us is on outcomes. It isn't on technology per se. It's how we achieve it, because it allows you to personalize and adapt to a kid, and it allows you to collect data you can share with the teacher. But the focus really has to be outcomes, not the technology itself.
All right, John Hass, CEO of Rosetta Stone, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you both.